Helps if I turn the camera on. Good evening, and welcome to the Friday night spectacular visual novel stream with the Book Club for Masochists, which is what I would love to be able to say to you. But instead, this evening is, in fact, the Friday night Regency romance visual novel stream. Joining me this week is Megan.
Hello.
And if you're unfamiliar with the stream or the podcast, Book Club for Masochists, a reader's advisory podcast, is a podcast that comes out twice a month. And every month we choose a different genre at random and have to read books from it. And in every January, it's slightly less random because every January we choose a romance subgenre. And then our romance episode comes out at the beginning of February. And so that's why we do it now. And this year we picked Regency romance. And if you've ever listened to the podcast, especially our romance episodes, you'll know that I am not a particular fan of romance. And Regency romance, not my thing, to say the least. Oh wait, also, I can make the light less spooky. Look, now it's pleasant and orange instead of creepy and blue. Perfect. Yeah, I'm so prepared for this, so I'm great. So we're doing Regency romance. However, the one area of romance that I've discovered that I actually enjoy was visual novels. I really enjoyed playing a bunch of visual novels last year when we did them on the podcast, and then I did a bunch of spooky dating simulators. So clearly the way to make me like romance things is to make them spooky and video game. And so I'm like, okay, let me try and find some Regency romance visual novels, and I can play those, and maybe I'll enjoy those. I don't know if I will or not. Also, if I do not enjoy this game, which we are playing The Lady's Choice this evening, it does not mean that this game is bad. There's a lot of people on the itch.io store for this game. There will be a link below on this on YouTube that really enjoy this game. So if you're into Regency romance stuff, I think this might be a cool game for you to play. I do not know if I will like it, but I'm hoping that the interactive elements of it will make it more fun. Maybe it'll be a bit more enjoyable for me in that way. But I think, unless there's any questions, Megan, or anything else you want to say, I think we can get going. Oh, if you want to check out the podcast, you can go to bookclub4m, 4 is in the numeral.com, bookclub4m.com, or just search for Book Club for Masochists on any podcast places, and you'll find us. Our most recent episode was Sociology, and the romance one, Regency romance, comes out at the beginning of February. Yeah. Are we good to go then, Megan?
Let's do it.
Let's go. Yeah, you've come along with me on this trip. So let's see. We are playing in English this time, so different than some of the streams we've done.
It won't last 2 hours.
My aunt once told me, a lack of good society will drive the wits from any decent person. I smiled to myself, unsure if I have instead lost my wits for agreeing to return to society. But I could not avoid it for much longer, Arabella's pleas growing too incessant to ignore. And as she has always been my closest friend, I just did not have the heart to deny her wishes. It has been many years since I last came to Bath, and said, having kept to my own company at my family's estate. Have you ever been to Bath?
No.
No, I've got some relatives in Bath. Haven't seen them since the 90s, so, really close relatives there. Last time I was in the society, it was... Oh, great. Okay. Disaster, exciting, uneventful. We have to go with the disaster, right?
All right.
Okay. A disaster. It was a disaster I would rather not relive. Being so young, I did not understand a gentleman's intentions and had unwittingly gotten myself entangled to him. That is very typical of these things. When Arabella had congratulated me on the match. Oh, I'm on a tennis match? I'm like, oh, they mean romantic dating match. I'd realized my mistake straight away. I dealt with it by, another choice, persuading his interest to someone better suited, telling him outright about the mistake, explaining how my few merits weren't going to be his taste, explaining the situation to him privately. What's your preference here?
I guess it depends on how we think our character is going to be throughout. Are we just going to be brute forward or more stealthy?
Megan, you already know more about how these Regency romance works than I do, so I don't know. My preference is explaining how my few merits weren't going to be to his taste, which sounds weirdly suggestive.
Okay, let's try that.
Okay. The next time we met, I explained how my few merits would be unlikely to make attractive qualities in a wife. He understood my rejection, though took it well due to the light manner I gave it in. Though I dealt with it as best I could, the whole affair still managed to spread throughout town. I had barely had a chance to walk down the street without hearing the whispers and gossip of those I passed. Arabella had remained by my side throughout, always so loyal in her friendship. With a gentle sigh, I clasped the handkerchief in my hand tighter, running my thumb over my name, which my mother had embellished onto it with such delicate needlework. Oh my gosh, do we get to name our character? First, what are we called? Rebel Girl Steph saying, I feel like this is a disappointing disaster, to be honest. Yeah, I guess it was a disappointing disaster. Like, maybe if we publicly said, it's like, I don't know. I don't want to say something really crude on the stream. Not yet, anyway. Okay, what do we want to call our character? Maximum confusion would be to also call ourselves Arabella.
Let's just call ourselves Disaster.
No, wait, what was it? The name I came up, Ray? Yeah, R-A-E.
Oh, yeah.
Which is not a very Regency romance name, is it?
Meh.
Okay. R-A-E. This is the Reader's Advisory.
Clearly
which is,
it's short for Rafaela.
we could go with the full version. Do you want to go with Rafaela or something?
No, the short one.
Reader's Advisory or book recommendations. The Reader's Advisory term is used heavily within libraries, even if no one outside of libraries explains it. And so R-A-E. This is my punny name that I finally decided on for all the characters I would play. Okay. Surname.
Oh, no.
This is so complicated.
Now can we call it Disaster?
Okay. Is that good?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, this is you then, Megan.
You fret unnecessarily, Ray.
Okay. Steph is saying in the chat that they approve of our name. Arabella lays a hand on my arm, and I shift my gaze to her, smiling softly.
I believe you will enjoy returning far more than you suppose.
Her smile turns to one of mischief.
And society will enjoy your company far more than it may remember.
Okay, I am in no way an expert in Regency romance clothing, but Arabella's jacket?
Her shoulder thingies.
They seem very
Oh, it is a little jacket.
poofy. Not in a way that screams Regency to me, but as I said, I'm not an expert in this. Let us hope so. The road gradually smooths, announcing our arrival into town from the country roads.
Oh, not far until we reach the house. I expect Lord Disaster's servants were surprised by the announcement of you staying in Bath.
Okay, I'm very happy with the name I chose. There was a character in one of the Discworld novels by Terry Pratchett whose last name was like D''EATH. And so it was like, you read it as death every time, but it was like some bizarre pronunciation. I can't remember, but yeah, that's the sort of thing. Okay. It has been a long time since my father sent word to the townhouse staff. Oh, this is one of the reasons I really don't like Regencies. I don't like rich people. I hope that it has not been too much bother for them, but they are in our service. Oh, not that one. They are probably most annoyed at our intrusion. I hope everything is prepared in case of guests.
I hope it's not been too much bother.
Okay. I purse my lips at the thought of the sudden work they must have had at such short notice. I hope it has not been too much bother for them to prepare the house. Arabella gives a light laugh.
It is sweet of you to worry on their behalf, but I'm sure a bit of work will do them good.
Ah, rich people.
It has been such a long while since anyone from your family has left the country estate. I imagine talk of your return is the main topic of conversation.
I can't help but stiffen at the thought. Arabella leans in to look out of the window, a smile lighting her face.
Ah, here we are.
I stare at the house, the last time I laid eyes on it being so long ago. It has changed little.
Shall we go in, Ray?
Okay, my gosh, their hats. Wow. Also, yeah, like that. Would you call it a jacket? What would you call Arabella's?
It's a shrug.
It looks like something someone would wear to a rave. Honestly, like not with that hat and not with that dress. Like probably just that as a top. But like I can definitely see someone wearing that to a rave.
Sure. Yeah. You've got a nice cape, though.
True, true.
I cannot very well proceed before you into your own house.
A cape that shows off my cleavage.
Well, listen.
She gives a chuckle, a nice smile in return, before eventually making my way inside. As soon as we step inside, a somewhat familiar face steps into the foyer to greet us. Okay, do you think male servant or female servant?
Male servant.
Ah.
Welcome home, Miss Disaster.
Johnson, our butler, has aged considerably since I last saw him. The once stout brunette man now turned into a slightly hunched gentleman with far more wrinkles than hair. That's a lot of wrinkles. Hello, Johnson. It's been too long. Give a curt nod. I surely did not recognize you for a moment, Johnson. Thank you, Johnson. Wow, I don't like some of these are so rude.
Yeah.
And I wonder how much they affect the game. Like if I just like give a curt nod to the servant, like do some of the other characters like that or dislike that? That'd be really interesting. Okay. First or last is my preference.
First.
Okay. It's been too long. I give a small smile of greeting. Hello, Johnson. It's been too long.
Indeed it has.
I guess we don't get to see Johnson.
Yeah. And this must be Miss Highsmith.
What a boring last name. Oh.
It is Lady Ashbourne now.
His brows curve in surprise.
I quite forgot about your marriage. I apologize, Lady Ashbourne.
She waves away his apology. I wonder if that was like a major snub. Like, did he really forget?
Do not turn so stuffy, Johnson. I'm still the same girl I always was, if somewhat more grown now. As I can see. Maybe it's a slight against her hat.
I like to imagine that she's worn the same hat since she was a child. Also, I have to imagine this hat looks better from the side. It looks terrible from the front. He states with a wry smile.
You are not staying with Sir Ashbourne?
Steph, it does look like a bucket.
It does, though.
Like, I assume there's a brim, and just, like, the direction we're viewing it, we can't see this, but, like, yeah, it looks like a bucket.
He passed away the year before last.
Place a comforting hand on hers. Change the subject. I shall greatly enjoy the company of only the two of us. Leave her be. The first one?
Yeah.
Okay. When her voice trembles, I reach out to rest my hand in hers. I offer a small smile, and her pain dissipates, if only a little.
You will wish to attend your rooms before tea?
Yes, thank you. I forgot what my name was. He gives a small nod, and we begin to shrug out of our coats and hats.
Oh no.
After saddling ourselves and lugging into our rooms, we meet again for tea in the drawing room. Oh, like, I'm impressed that they've bothered to draw the reflection of the window frame in the mirror above the fireplace.
I hope tonight's ball will be busy.
Yeah, she looks much better without the hat on. A ball already.
You really have forgotten society, haven't you? A ball tonight will open the season.
Oh my gosh, capital S season. She takes a sip of tea, staring at me over the brim of her teacup. I wanted to like use like a fancy teacup for my tea this evening, but it's just like, I'm like, oh, I only own mugs.
It's true though.
So this is as fancy as I get.
Everyone will be in attendance.
Yep. Including us.
Including us.
Her lips curved into a secretive smile, and I frowned slightly in curiosity. Why are you smiling so, Arabella? The question was obviously just the prompt she needed. She places her cup so excitedly it rattles against the saucer. Oh my gosh, true excitement.
I believe I may be soon engaged.
Engaged?
My family have been in talks with another about a suitable partner.
Can you imagine if your family did that for you, Megan?
That seems crazy quick too. It's been like a year she's been a widow. But
Oh, I think it was over a year, so it could be like closer to 2.
okay.
Also, like, she clearly doesn't have any children, and so you've got to get, those heirs out there. Is this why you were so insistent I join you this year?
I did not want to enter into all of this alone, I admit. And you were there for me in my last marriage, even when no one else was. Your advice in this is the only one I would care for.
I understand. So, who is he? She shifts back in the seat, picking up her cup once again.
I cannot tell you yet, as much as I may wish.
Oh my gosh, do you think we can steal her, like, potential fiance away from her?
I do not want to talk of it without more certainty of the situation.
So it is not settled. She shakes her head. We can definitely steal them. Then gives a small smile.
But I have hopes it will soon be.
I take a gulp of tea, unsure how to respond. Not once had Arabella seemed keen on remarrying, having inherited both title and wealth from her former husband. I glance at her, studying the smile on her face. It seems genuine. I did not know you were in the market for someone new. You do not need a husband to secure your place in society any longer, Arabella.
Of course, I do not need a husband. But that does not mean I do not wish for someone to share my life with.
I give a nod of understanding.
Maybe you will also meet someone of your liking tonight, Ray. Society has much changed since the last time you were here.
So I really have to give this game credit. This seems very authentically Regency romance novel. I look at her unsurely, my nerves already on edge about tonight's ball. That evening, we arrive in the already bustling assembly floors for the opening ball of the season.
Choose our dresses.
Yeah, that would be nice. That would be like probably the high point of this game if I got to choose the dress that we were wearing. Do you think? I hope we have a different dress at the least, a fancier one, not just a traveling dress. Oh my gosh, can you imagine showing up at the first ball of the season in your traveling dress?
I totally thought we'd get to like pick our dresses and our hair and stuff. I don't know.
Oh nope.
Oh, how wonderful! So many here already. We didn't change it all.
I am very amused that there's literally no one in the background. I nod in agreement. Yes, Arabella, there are true plants. There certainly are so many. The assembly rooms are large, but seem positively tiny when packed with so many people. The heat is stifling, and I do my best to stand in the way of the doors, hoping for the coolness of a draft.
There is Lady Steer.
Arabella points through the crowd, but I cannot pick one person out from the mass.
I must ask how she's been. I shall return in but a moment.
Before I can protest, she is swallowed up by the crowd, and I am left standing alone at the edge of the room.
Excuse me?
I turn around to see a young woman smiling at me.
I realize we have not yet been introduced, but I saw you speaking to Lady Ashbourne and simply had to know you. I am Miss Claire Witter.
She bobs a small curtsy. It is very nice to make your acquaintance, Miss Witter. This is not how we should be introduced. A bold introduction, Miss Witter. I am pleased for it. 3?
Sure, let's try that.
That is quite a bold introduction, Miss Witter. And I am pleased for it. I drop into a small curtsy myself. Sorry. The idea that someone who's like first language is in English reading this, and they were like, what is a curtsy and how do you drop into it? What does the sentence mean is pretty amusing to me. I am Ms. Ray Disaster.
You are Miss Disaster? My mother has spoken of your return. Have you truly not been to town so long?
It's like it seems so much more like a supervillain name. It's like, oh no, Miss Disaster is coming to town. I started a little at the abruptness of the question. Miss Witter, obviously a lot younger than her looks would suggest. It has been quite some time, yes.
Then you must be simply desperate for enjoyment. How dull it must have been in the country.
There was no internet. I barely have time to open my mouth to respond before she speaks again.
Come, we must dance. I have a partner waiting for me, but we shall find you someone else. Too.
She takes my hand and tugs me to one side.
Oh, Miss Amsbury. Mr. Amsbury. Oops.
I glance up to search at the person she has called.
Mr. Amsbury!
She raises her voice to be heard over the din of people. I finally manage to free my fingers from her excited grasp.
Can I help you, Miss Witter?
A rather jovial voice asks from the sea of people. I glance up to meet eyes with a handsome, youthful face framed by thick locks of blonde curls.
He's not very blonde. Lawrence, this is Miss Ray Disaster, and she is without a partner for this dance.
So I think this is one of the 3 potential dating people we have in this game.
Okay.
Also, apparently, I looked up the endings a little bit. Apparently, there's a 4th ending in which we just say no to everybody.
Awesome.
But let's actually try and date somebody. I can't.
Regency date.
Sorry.
Regency date.
Yep. I can't help my cheeks heating at the forward nature of the young woman. I apologize.
I would be most happy to rectify the situation, Miss Disaster.
I think I really need to use Miss Disaster as a character in something at this point. I just love how that name looks. Before I can speak my apology, Mr. Amesbury holds out a hand towards me. Dance? Don't dance.
Dance!
Okay. I like that there's a question mark after it. Thank you, Mr. Amesbury. He gives a wide smile as I place my hand gently into his, and we make our way towards where the other partners are lining up for the dance. When the music begins, the line of ladies take a wide step forward, the men then doing the same to meet in the middle. I take Mr. Amesbury's hand again, and we walk in unison down the middle of the room.
You should not be offended by Miss Witter's forward manners, Miss Disaster.
Okay, do I just not understand what dancing is in the Regency period?
It's like that folk dancing where there's lots of patterns and things.
But do they just walk, or is there like more movement to it?
There is movement to it, but there's lots of like... I can see it in my mind's eye. I'm not able to explain the...
Okay, it seems very boring. The only partner dance I know is Lindy Hop, like swing dancing, which is...
It is not that energetic.
No, definitely not. But like walking around seems like the opposite of dancing to me.
Her parents have rather indulged her, and she has little worry of upsetting the rules.
So I could tell.
If only more were of her disposition. Wouldn't you agree?
We part for a moment, taking a turn about another set of partners before meeting once again. It is nice to meet people so cheerful, at least. I welcome introduction to those who would speak over rules, a disposition that may very well cause more trouble than cheer. Her parents should not indulge such frivolity, as cheerful as it may make her.
I like to meet cheerful people.
In the chat, you walk in circles and touch hands, and then you switch hands, right? That's Regency dancing? Yeah, I guess you walk in circles. I don't know. So the first one? Or the second one? You wanted the first one, I think.
Yeah. Although he seems more like a second one. But well, let's just be like moderate.
Yeah, okay. Well, like we're not, tied to dating this person yet.
Yeah.
I give nod to his previous statement. It is nice to meet people so cheerful. That is one benefit of not always following what is expected.
Indeed. If we were to follow every rule and constraint placed on us, I believe there would be no reason to ever smile. We'd all be robots.
Robots smile when when they get a large, properly formatted data file. Ah, yes, excellent. This is using ISO standard dates. Perfect. I got an email today from a information science association, and the date in the subject lining was not an ISO standard date format, and I was so upset about it. I'm just like, you are sending me what? This is unacceptable from an information science association to not use ISO standard dates. Anyway,
You don't even care.
yeah, I know. It's like, what do you want? What are you giving forth about this association if you're not using ISO standard dates? Anyone in the chat who's not aware of this, I don't know, like follow me on Twitter and I'll probably complain about it in the future. He gives a cheerful laugh that continues to echo even as we change partners for a few beats. When we return, he takes my hand and leads me around the outside of the floor around the other partners.
I hear you have been out of society for quite some time.
I give a small nod.
Then we are in similar situations, as I too have not been required to return to town for a few years.
And yet you return now.
I have had little choice.
Oh, what's a scandal? His frown turns to a joking smile.
You know how family can be about securing their lineage.
Oh, so he's the one that needs an heir. I smile in understanding. Actually, I've been most lucky in that my family have never pushed me to pursue marriage. We draw together once more, the music fading slowly.
Then consider yourself incredibly fortunate, Miss Disaster.
He offers a smile before bending at the wrist in a low bow.
It has been a pleasure.
And with that, he lets my hand drop before disappearing into the crowds. Thankfully, I'm not left alone long, as Arabella finds me soon after.
Ray, you must make haste and come this way.
What has happened?
Some military officers are being stationed in Bath for a few days and have come for an introductions tonight.
Cool, my second favorite thing after rich people, the military. They're simply so... Oh, this is you.
They're simply so dashing, I almost fainted where I stood.
I'm one of your betrothed?
He's not my betrothed yet.
I would have blushed from her words had I not grown used to them years ago. She leads me to one side of the room where a swath of young women have taken up. Arabella pays them little mind as she squeezes through them with a practiced elegance. Finally, we come to a stop before a tall, uniformed man. It is hard not to find the sight rather pleasing.
Colonel Foxley.
His belt seems so weird. Like on the outside of a jacket? I don't know.
I don't know. I feel like...
I guess that's fine sometimes. I don't know. I think it's just the color that's really standing out to me, though I'm sure it's probably accurate considering the rest of the details. At the sound of her voice, the man's face lights into a bright smile.
Lady Ashbourne.
Also, I guess we can tell from the fact that Colonel Foxley is not white, that this is not entirely historically accurate, which is fine, great.
I would be most pleased to introduce you to my closest friend, Miss Ray Disaster.
He dips into a bow, and I drop into a small curtsy.
It is most delightful to meet you, Lady Ash. Oh, Lady Ash. Please, Colonel. Arabella will do just fine. But Lady Ashbourne... It is only a name, Colonel.
Oh, he's blushing.
Ooh.
The Colonel clears his throat before continuing with what he was saying.
Arabella has been most kind in helping us find our way around.
I am certain it is a task she will take very much to heart. Sentences I do not believe anyone has ever said out loud. The music ends in the next dance, and Arabella suddenly brightens.
Oh, Colonel, did you not promise me the next dance? Indeed I did.
Arabella moves forward to slip her arm into his.
But what of Miss Disaster?
Oh, please, do not miss out on the dance on account of me. I am most happy to observe.
I would not dream of such.
He turns around and scans the room before smiling and tapping another uniformed man on the shoulder. The man steps closer to us, his stiff posture and countenance enough to make me uneasy myself.
Miss Disaster, may I present Captain Guy Blake as a suitable enough partner for this dance? Whoa, that was like not the highest praise.
I can't even remember what it was. Anyway, doesn't really matter. Steph saying, if the movie Pride, Prejudice, and Zombies taught me anything, it's that scenes such as this would be way more interesting with zombies. Also, it's a fun movie, apparently. I have not seen Pride, Prejudice, and Zombies. But yeah, generally, I think this sort of thing is improved by magic stuff. This is why I enjoy the monster-based dating games. They're more fun to me in that way. Okay. What do you think? Do you think Guy Blake is a suitable thing?
Foxley, this is not. Come on now, Guy. You can't be upset by the partner, can you?
Oh my gosh, you know what I just realized might not happen in this visual novel, Megan? There might not be a ... dialogue.
Well, we'll see.
Captain Blake turns his gaze away uneasily.
It is not a question of that. And, of course, Ray will have no upset in taking on such a fine officer.
Without saying a word more, the two move to the dance floor.
Awkward. If you would care to, Miss Disaster, I would reserve this dance for you.
His words and manner are both unsettled, his gaze shifting away momentarily to check on Colonel Foxley. Steph saying, how can there be a visual novel without ... Exactly. It's such a key aspect of them, it seems to me. Dance? Don't dance. What do we think of this guy? I'm not impressed by this guy.
I don't think he wants to dance.
Okay, let's don't dance then. I believe it would be preferable to sit this one out, Captain. He drops his hand to his side and lets out a small sigh of relief.
As you wish.
The mind whale saying, he looks extremely bored. Yeah. It could just be the art style, though. We stand together as we watch the others take to the floor and begin their dance. The longer we stand together, the more tense the captain seems to grow. It's not long before I notice a look of what I can only see as disdain curl the corner of his lips. Oh, wow. Yeah, wow, that's definitely disdain. You dislike the dancing or the crowds, Captain? His brows arch in surprise of my question, and he looks at me.
The crowds are not what I am accustomed to.
Steph asking, why is he hovering? Go away. Well, like, I guess neither of us has anywhere, like, we don't know anybody else here, so we're just going to stand awkwardly next to each other until our friends come back.
I've been to those parties.
Yeah, definitely. I've definitely been at those parties too.
Or what I should ever want to become accustomed to.
Surely you've been to such society many times before.
My attendance here is due to my rank, Miss Disaster, not my birth.
Oh. Unsure of his meaning and a little hesitant to ask more on it, I simply let the conversation dwindle. I wouldn't even really call that a conversation, to be honest.
But I certainly hope you do not take offense from my statement.
Of course I did not take offense. You should not judge everyone simply because of their societal rank. I find it good practice to take a little offense from everything. That is the one I want to answer with. None taken. I'm going that one. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow. Oh, Captain, I think you'll find it's good practice to take a little offense to everything. That is like a line. His brows rise in surprise of my words until he comes to the realization that I meant it in light. No, I didn't. Totally serious.
You take pleasure in teasing those around you, Miss Disaster?
Only if they are open to take a little offense themselves. I give a small laugh, and his smile widens a little. When the dancing is over, Arabella and the Colonel rejoin us.
You should have danced, Guy. Miss Disaster did not care for it.
It is true, though the captain was very gracious to offer. I glanced at the captain to find him smiling at me in gratitude.
Well, I enjoyed the exercise.
I don't even know how to respond to lines of dialogue like that.
It was indeed a most enjoyable distraction.
After bowing, the captain and colonel have to leave us to rejoin their fellow officers.
I most regret not bringing a fan, for I am suddenly feel quite flushed.
Arabella.
I cannot help how my body reacts to such a man, Ray. I do not believe any woman could.
Super hot, I guess. We laugh quietly before I notice the crowds around us have parted.
Oh, it is Lady Thomasina Huntington.
Thomasina.
Thomasina Huntington.
Who is Lady Huntington?
Really, Ray? Have you no interest in society at all in these years?
Yes, none.
Never mind.
Before Arabella has a chance to inform me of why the woman approaching us has caused the crowds to tremble like scared mice, Lady Huntington stops before us. We drop into short curtsies, though the woman does not return one. Oh, she looks mean.
Lady Ashbourne, is this your good friend, I assume?
She has a fan.
Yes, Lady Huntington. May I present Miss Ray Disaster?
I feel like having a name like Ray would be so incredibly societally unacceptable in this case. It's like, you have a single syllable first name. No. 3 syllables minimal. The woman glances over me with a close glare. One I can only believe has been mastered over inspecting many a young woman. When finished, she snaps her fan shut and gives a small nod of satisfaction.
You have been out of good society for so long, Miss Disaster. You must be thankful your parents let you return.
Though she did not speak it as a question, I still cannot stifle the urge to make a reply. I was not in society of my choosing. Think better of it and only give a nod of acceptance instead. I am pleased to be back.
Oh, I'd say 2. Let's not poke the bear.
I kind of want to poke the bear, but let's go with 2. As much as I may wish to speak back to the woman, I know it is not what I should do. Instead, I bow my head and give a sweet smile, one I know even she cannot find fault with.
I see you have not completely forgotten the ways of refined company.
I want to throw this person out a window. She takes a step closer, and I struggle to keep my balance against her imposing force.
Such acceptance back into society will surely grant you a good match.
Even a lighter.
Even with your...
She inspects me closely once again. How is she going to insult us?
years more experience over the other ladies.
Okay, our
What?
friend Arabella was married, and she apparently has a match. And so, like, we are
Yeah.
clearly much more capable. Although, I guess maybe, I don't know. I'm in no way an expert in this. Okay.
Being a snot.
She is. She drops into the
poker.
smallest of curtsies. Oh, wow. Look at her expression. We are unhappy with that.
Good evening to you, Lady Ashbourne, Miss Disaster. I do hope you enjoy the ball.
And with those words and her insult to my age, she sweeps away into the crowds. How old do you think we are? Like 22?
I don't know. We're probably 25. You know?
Oh my gosh, 25. Might as well be dead, Megan.
Are you quite all right, Ray?
I give a small nod, which does not completely deter Arabella's concerns, but is enough to calm her a little.
Lady Lady Huntington is the gatekeeper which all in society must please to secure a good fortune.
Future. Close. Same, really.
Yeah. I was negligent not to warn you of her.
You are not at fault. No, it is her manners which are negligent. Whoa! The sour expression on her face should have been a beacon of warning. It would have been nice to know beforehand. Number 2?
Yeah.
No, it is Lady Huntington's manners which are at fault. She gives a nod of agreement. Did the Colonel not ask for the next dance with you, Arabella?
Oh, I almost quite forgot.
Whoa, she's dancing with that Colonel a lot. Almost forgot.
Well, I could never altogether forget any invitation from that man.
I shake my head slightly at her words.
But what of you?
Go and enjoy the company of your officer, Arabella. She doesn't need much more convincing than that before giving a broad smile and setting off to find her uniformed partner. As the partners begin to move to the dance floor, I shuffle to one side, out of the way, only to bang right into someone beside me. Dun, dun, dun. Is this our bachelor number 3? Oh, I apologize. I glance up quite a way to meet eyes the tall, well-held gentleman. What does well-held mean? Like, groomed? Dressed? Attractive? All
Good
3?
posture.
Good. Oh, yeah, probably his posture. Just spine straight.
Ooh. I believe I should be the one to make such an apology, miss.
Okay, so this is apparently the one you like the best. He glances to the side and then returns his gaze to me.
How about I make up such a calamity on my part with a dance?
He offers his hand towards me.
I can assure you I am not anywhere near as clumsy when on the dance floor.
But we are not yet introduced.
You and I know that fact, but I believe the rest of the room does not.
He offers his hand again.
Would you care to take the chance on such a scandal?
Oh my gosh. His teasing makes me hesitate. I guess let's dance with this guy.
Dance!
Dance. I push down my uncertainty and place my hand into his. Okay, sorry, in the chat. Mine will saying, oh dang, and Steph saying, yes. A rake, a rogue, or whatever you call them. Definitely, such a rake. Okay, I would love a visual novel that was all like this, and then like there was just a literal rake like in as one of the characters. And I'm like, oh my gosh, he's so uncouth. This literal rake. that is an option for dating. I push down my uncertainty and place my hand into his. His handsome face brightens into a wide smile as he leads me to the floor, where we stand opposite each other and wait the music. Say your name. Standing in line with the other woman, I cannot help but notice the narrowed glares and curious whispers that pass amongst the crowd. Oh, he is. All thrown in the direction of my unknown dance partner.
I am most glad you decided to take such a risk. I do not usually go to dance much anymore.
Get to dance. Apparently no one wants to dance with him. Has that anything to do with the way everyone glances at you? His brows arch, obviously surprised by my bold question.
You are quite astute.
He takes my hand and I walk beneath his arm before we turn to face each other.
I will speak plainly then.
We spin around another couple before joining together again.
I did not introduce myself to you, as I could tell you obviously did not know of me. And it is a rare and precious thing to enjoy not being judged before even being acquainted.
I assume this person is like, Lord Dead Wife or something.
Oh dear.
I would not have judged you even had I known who you were. I am quite capable of making my own opinions. Is it the style to judge those who we do not know? Had you not heard? Oh, it is the style to judge those we do not know. Had you not heard? Rumors of 10 start from truths. He's probably a duke, says Steph. Probably a duke.
I like 3, but what do you think?
Sure, let's go with 3. I don't really have a preference to these ones. But it is quite the fashion to judge those we do not know, sir. Had you not heard?
Oh, it is a fashion I learned long ago.
The seriousness in his voice curbs my humor, and I take his hand a little more tensely.
But let that not spoil the enjoyment of a dance between strangers. An event which is also an incredibly rare and delightful moment.
His smile cuts through the odd tension, and I return his gesture. The music begins to fade, and we draw together at the end of the dance. He politely leads me to the crowds at the side of the room and gives a deep bow.
It has been a most pleasant time.
And all without introductions.
I confess it has made it all the sweeter. Please excuse me.
With a final nod of his head, he moves away, and I watch as his broad frame disappears into the crowds. That was actually pretty rude.
Dang it. Ray, what could have possessed you to dance with him?
A ghost. I spin around in shock of Arabella's outburst. What on earth do you mean?
Lord Stanton, of course.
Who is?
You weren't not even introduced?
I clasp her hand, trying to calm down her hysterics as I fear she may faint from shock. Sorry, in the mind whale saying, "Spill the tea, Arabella." And Steph saying how mysterious this is.
You truly dance with such a man without knowing him?
I mean, he has facial hair. I'm sure there have been worse things done, Arabella.
You would not say such thing if you knew of him. I mean, someone invited him to the ball, right?
I guess, like, you can't just show up, right? I don't know how these work. I assume you can't just show up and be like, I'm a fancy person. They ask you if you're a lord? I think you still have to have an invite. Though maybe you have to invite everybody. Maybe it's like, those parties in, like, elementary school where, like, everyone in your class had to be invited.
Maybe. I don't know.
She sidles closer to whisper to me.
That is the Viscount Stanton of Braxbury, Lord Isaac Stanton.
She turns to gauge my expression, and seeing no sign of recognition, she continues.
His family's name was once well respected until his father took up an affair with a local gambling house. It would appear that passion runs in the family. There's apparently no fortune left.
Oh, he's poor. I forgot. The worst possible thing you can be.
But he's fancy. His presence at these events is purely due to his lineage, nothing more. You should be more careful in future and have associated with such company.
You know what I really like? This is so ridiculous, but like I'm reading the novel Gideon the Ninth right now and enjoying it. But really, like, you could have just made this in space, and they're all space nobles. And I would be so much into this. Just make it like spookier and gothier and be like, oh, that is like Lord Stanton of Mars. And I'd be like, oh, no, not the Mars Stantons. They're terrible. Like Gideon the Ninth has like there's like 9 different like not royal, but like fancy houses and stuff. And it's like, oh, the 6th. Yes, they're the worst. I'd be like, yeah, no, tell me more. Tell me more about how this terrible space royals are.
Those space wizards.
Yeah. The mime was saying true of literally every story, I think. Yeah, honestly. You put anything in space and I'm like, I'll be so much more willing to put up with it. It was like, oh yeah, like they're teenagers and it's boring love story, but they're on Mars. I'm like, oh wait, no, tell me more. What are the Martian teenagers doing? Tell me about the moon school they go to.
There's a whole bunch of sci-fi space books that I've read where basically it's Regency, but in space. Like they ride horses and crap. So
oh my gosh, space horses?
Well, they ride the horses when they're on land, but otherwise when they're in space, they're space Regency.
I was really hoping they were riding horses between planets.
Sometimes when they have to do exercise in the gym because they're military space families, then they ride a fake horse in the gym in space.
Robot horse, okay. Did you read this line already? I can't remember.
Yes.
I glanced into the crowd where the man has disappeared, suddenly understanding our conversation during the dance a little more. A few hours later, and the crowds begin to disperse. I am more than happy to return home and to the comfort of my bed, my body and mind fatigued from the evening. Someone's an introvert. I talked to 3 people. No, wait, like 6 people. Oh my gosh. The next morning, I find Arabella in the drawing room after breakfast, eagerly tearing open a pile of letters. Whoa, people move fast. So many letters already? I give a small laugh as I take the seat opposite her. So something that's I think is really interesting that I learned a little while ago is, I don't know about like the exact time period, but maybe around here, is like the letter postal system in like London, I guess specifically, was so efficient, I guess, for rich people that like you could send and receive letters in the same day, sometimes multiple times. It worked so much more like email does. And so you were like, I'm going to write a letter to my friend. And they would like get it. And like 4 hours later, you would have a response from them.
Yeah.
So, okay. I give a small laugh as I take the seat opposite her. She glances up, a serious expression on her features.
This is no laughing matter, Ray. These are invites. It is today we make our most important decision of the season.
And what would that be?
Whose company we'll be spending the season with, of course.
We have to decide already?
I guess. It would be impossible to split our time between everyone in town.
So I guess, yeah, I think if we say no to every dance, it just ends. But okay.
So we must decide who will receive our interests.
I see. She gives a bright smile and leans close to me, placing her hands on my knees.
Seeing as it is your first year back, why do you not choose the engagement?
Are you certain?
I would have it no other way.
She leans back and spreads out 3 letters in front of me. Each invite is elegantly written and well presented. Arabella points to the first one.
This is an invite to an afternoon tea later today. Though I believe Lord Stanton will be in attendance in that one, so maybe it would be wiser to avoid it.
The worry on her face disappears in favor of a grin as she gestures to the next letter.
This is a letter to a dinner party this evening hosted by Lady Huntington in honor of the military being in town.
I am definitely leaning away from that one.
Yeah. Colonel Foxley will be there, along with that captain friend of his.
Like Colonel Foxley seems like the hottest of all these guys, and so it's kind of annoying that we don't get to date him. Like, even if he is in the military. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to save now, since I might come back to this, and I don't want to have to go through all the beginning bit again. Okay. Return. Okay. Captain Blake? I'm shocked that you remember, because I don't remember his name, and it was like 10 minutes ago for me, and it was like 12 hours for you.
Yes, him.
Okay. Mindwell saying, they basically named him Captain Hot Guy.
Yes.
Yeah, pretty much. She touches the final invite.
This is to a picnic hosted by the Kitterings.
She pouts a little in thought.
They're not quite the most known family, though they do always bring the most delightful spread of food, so the event is quite popular. A few families always attend. The Fishers, the Sterlings, the Amesburys if they're in town.
That was the first guy, right?
Yeah.
With Mr. Amesbury? No, there is no Mr. Amesbury. They produce through asexual reproduction, Ray. She gives a nod.
Yes, I believe it is only the son in town this year. Is it not?
She waves away the thought in dismissal before I can respond, then spreads the letters out further on the table.
So, which would you like to attend?
The afternoon tea, Lord Stanton. The dinner party, Captain Blake. The picnic, Mr. Amesbury. The afternoon tea? I don't want to go outside.
You don't want to go outside?
I don't want to go outside. Like, come on, that's ridiculous. Afternoon tea sounds like the much better option. Or what is your preference? Or what do people in the chat think as well? What would they like to see us do this time?
Yeah, should we go for random dancy dude, Captain Hot Guy, or Mysterious Rake?
Well, the captain, it's not Captain Hot Guy. It's like Captain Hot Guy's friend who didn't like parties.
No, the Colonel is the hot guy, and again, Captain is the guy who couldn't relax.
Right, yeah. I wouldn't say, yeah. Okay, so which one? Steph likes the tea option. So that's one vote for tea. Which way are you leaning, Megan?
I'm leaning picnic.
Picnic. So you like the first one?
I just wanted to go outside, but maybe we should go for the bad boy since he's so mysterious and stuff.
I know, so mysterious and so scandally. He's broke. He only wants us for our money. I guess we have money since we own 2 houses. Okay. With no other opinions, I also vote afternoon tea. So we're gonna go with that one. We're gonna go find Mr. Bad Boy. I think the afternoon tea. Well, the mind whale also wants the rake, so we're good.
Are you certain? Lord Stanton may be there, and now you're spoken to him once, we may not be able to avoid the acquaintance.
Arabella, you advised me not to fret, but now you are. Her worry shifts to a small smile.
All right, as you wish then.
Can he really be so bad? He seemed like a perfectly respectable gentleman at the ball. He didn't introduce himself. Arabella gives an unladylike scoff.
His manners have nothing to do with his reputation. I just do not wish to see any slander fall on you due to his careless interactions.
I understand. He's got a bad reputation.
And we should have no reason to converse with the man anyway, so I do not expect it should be an issue at all.
She picks up the invitation to the afternoon tea and then stands from her seat.
I shall let Johnson know to inform them of our acceptance.
I give her a nod and she leaves the room. That afternoon, we arrive at the event rooms to see who else decided to attend this gathering. As soon as we step inside, we are accosted by Miss Claire Witter.
Oh, Lady Ashbourne, Miss Disaster.
She doesn't seem very happy to see us. We all dip into curtsies, though Miss Witter's is rather more animated than ours.
Isn't it the most thrilling thing? This is my first time attending these events on my own, you know. Well, except for the presence of my aunt, who provides little more than complaints at everything that we do. But now you have both arrived. I believe this will be the most splendid afternoon. Indeed it shall, Miss Witter.
Steph saying that they wish that there were more changes to the outfits.
Yes.
I really have to agree. I think it would be nice to have if they had multiple dresses and stuff. But, you know, it takes a lot of effort to draw things.
We recognize people.
You can just keep the heads the same.
Yeah.
Arabella obviously sees a new friend in the girl and sidles up to her.
Is there anyone of note here yet? No one except you, Lady Ashbourne.
Oh, burn. We're not of note. Arabella glances in my direction, a pleased smile gracing her lips.
Oh, I do believe we shall get on very well, Miss Witter.
Whoa.
We are flattered.
Yeah. The small group of us head to one of the vacant seats and settle ourselves in. It's not long until we have been served our tea, accompanied by a selection of fluffy delicacies. Fluffy delicacies. Fluffy.
Puff pastries.
I guess. Not a word I traditionally associate with afternoon tea food.
Are you here for a marriage match, Miss Witter? That is what I hope, though I have seen no one yet. That is often the way.
The conversation is suddenly halted as the room falls quiet. I guess Mr. Rake has kicked the door open. I turn in my seat to see what everyone has decided to stare at. I soon discover the quiet is due to someone only now entering the hall far later than what should be acceptable. It is not hard to distinguish it is Lord Stanton, merely from his tall stature alone. As he steps inside, there's the faintest twitter of whispers. The word Twitter now is so much funnier to me in these contexts. Everyone on their cell phone is like, oh my gosh, Lord Stanton showed up to tea. What is he doing?
He's late!
Not only is he here, he's late and wearing the same clothes he was in at the ball last night.
I mean, to be fair, so are we.
Yeah, but whatever. They don't need to know that on Twitter. Everyone's, oh my God. Okay, subtweeting the Viscount would be an amazing name for a romance novel. Definitely. Okay. Before everyone returns to their conversations. Before I do the same, I manage to catch Lord Stanton's eye. He threw it right at me. He smiles at me and dips his head in a formal greeting. I return the gesture when I suddenly feel a hand rest on my arm.
Ray, would you care for some more tea?
I turn back to face my companions and nod at Arabella's question.
You know Lord Stanton, Miss Disaster?
We have not been formally introduced, no. Arabella soon changes the topic of conversation.
There are many eligible men about, Miss Witter. It just seems to take a year of searching to find them.
She laughs softly. Is that a joke? I don't understand.
And what of you, Lady Ashbourne? I heard there was talk of a possible engagement. Word truly spreads fast. I'm afraid that did not come to fruition.
Someone danced with too many military men last night. She doesn't seem to be affected in any way, but still. I am sorry, Arabella. You do not need him. Obviously a man not worthy of your time. Maybe another match will find you soon. 3?
Sure.
Some people on the discussion page of this on the itch.io website were saying that they wish there was an Arabella path, like a secret Arabella path.
Oh, I
Apparently there's
know.
not. Yeah. I wonder if choosing this route also brings your friend to ruin. Oh, could be. Because I guess if we went to the military thing, they would definitely have gotten that dude. But now maybe she doesn't find a partner. Quite obviously, a man not worthy of your time, Arabella. I keep thinking that her name is like Arabella Frankenstein for some reason, and I do not know why. But it just makes it far more interesting in my mind if that's her name. She gives a small nod of agreement.
I agree.
Like Arabella Frankenstein sounds like a good name, right? Is it
Yes.
just me? Okay.
Why did the match not progress?
Arabella shrugs her shoulders and shuffles back in her seat a little. I think that is not a good thing to ask, Miss Witter.
Yes.
Scandalous.
Who is not a fan of being in society, and our life together would have been spent mostly in the country.
Someone's addicted to WoW.
And though some may value that piece of life,
She throws me a knowing smile.
it is not what I wish for my future. I enjoy the crowds of town too much to surrender that for a marriage.
It is a fact that would be difficult to deny. Arabella is truly in her element amongst the crowds. I miss crowds of people so much this year. Yeah. As the conversation dwindles, I glance about the room, noticing Lord Stanton is not amongst the chattering people. Would he have left already? The welcome he received was not the most cordial. The thought is forced from my mind as Arabella and Miss Witter grab my attention once more with talk of the latest London fashions. It is a couple of hours before I am left to myself. Miss Witter most insistent upon Arabella meeting her tiresome aunt. Taking a walk about the room, I hear no conversation that tempts me to join, so continue on. Peering down a side hallway, I begin walking down it. Exploring the event hall has far more interest than forced pleasantries with strangers at that moment. I guess we're going to find the dude in some room. Scandal. We're going to be in a room by ourselves with this dude. Halfway down the corridor, I catch a whisper of voices and find my feet following the source of the noise before I can stop. The voices, now made clearer to be angered ones, come from behind a small doorway. I am about to turn away when I recognize one of them as Lord Stanton's.
You press your luck to call on me here. Have no worries, my lord. I was careful enough to go unnoticed. We were most anxious to know if you will be attending the house tonight. I am there most every night. Why should this evening be any different?
Stanton's voice holds an unmistakable tension.
The boss will be pleased, with you such good friends now. Yes, I'm sure his wallet is most excited by my presence. That is unfair, my lord. You cannot blame all your bad fortune on my good employer.
The house always wins. That's why casinos exist.
He does not force those in his establishment to gamble. He only provides the option.
Stanton gives a derisive snort.
Yes, the man is practically a saint.
There's a silence so tense it seems to batter me even through the closed door.
Until tonight, then, my lord.
The sound of a door opening and closing echoes from the room, and I realize the conversation is over. Throwing my glance about the hallway, I am dismayed to find no hiding places. The door before me opens, revealing Lord Stanton, whose face tenses in surprise to find me.
Oops.
Okay. Mind well saying, I know this is gambling house stuff, but my first instinct was that she was going to discover he was some sort of vigilante, Regency Batman. I think that's a lot more likely if this was his house. You know, like if it was his house, you know, and he's like stepped away and then like you would discover that he was Regency Batman. But this is just someone else's house. So like it seems very unlikely that he would have like changed into his Batman outfit.
To do like a Superman changing in a phone booth type of situation.
Yeah. But alas, no, apparently.
Miss Disaster, what are you doing here?
Spying. Pretend you've gotten lost. Don't try to cover up eavesdropping. I would be obliged to ask the same of you, Lord Stanton. Whoa, just turn it right back on him. Reversal.
Radical honesty.
Don't try to cover up?
Yeah.
Okay. I grew rather tired of the same talk in the hall, so decided to walk about. I overheard rather angered voices and came to investigate.
I understand. Curiosity is a natural trait for us all, is it not, Miss Disaster?
I smile at him in gratitude of his understanding. He offers an arm towards me. Oh my gosh, will we accept it?
Shall we return to the hall?
We still haven't been introduced. There's not even an option to say no. We proceed down the hallway together, and I speak to break the silence. You've discovered my name, I see.
I believe it was only fair, as I'm sure someone would be quick to inform you of mine after the ball.
The chat saying Arabella is going to be pissed. Very true. Yep. Yep.
Yep.
I give a small nod.
And along with my name, I am most certain you have had my most scandalous details relayed to you.
My expression drops a little at his words, giving answer enough.
I see. Then what you overheard just moments ago cannot come as much of a surprise.
You are very open and most keen to make light of it all.
What use is there in doing otherwise? Though I wish my affairs could be my own, that can never be the case in today's world. It is a fact I have grown used to. I would care very little of what others say of myself, but that it should have effect on my family is what concerns me the most.
Before we can speak more on it, we come to the entrance of the hallway, which opens back into the hall. A few people glance in our direction, and I can feel Stanton tense beside me.
I shall take my leave of you now, Miss Disaster. It would be unfair for me to tarnish your good name, all for the want of your more fair-minded company.
I would not mind if you stayed. I care little for their opinion. I think a little tarnishing can only be of benefit. Thank you for your consideration.
Are we into this guy?
Are we going to go all in? Which I assume is the tarnishing one?
Maybe?
Yeah? Okay, let's go for it.
Like, you have 3 options for your tarnishing.
Yeah, I think the third one is the funniest, though. It implies we have a sense of humor.
The humor, though. I feel like you got to be radically honest if you really want to get them.
So what do you think?
I think 2.
2? Okay. I care very little for their opinion, Lord Stanton. Please do not worry on my behalf.
But it is indeed difficult not to worry on your behalf, Miss Disaster, when you are so accommodating. I hope we meet again under less strict supervisions. Whew.
I slide my hand from his arm when he gives me a polite bow before he moves off towards the exit of the hall. I watch him leave, all the faces that had turned on us now returning to their own conversations.
Ray, did you not care to take my advice?
I stare at Arabella as she rushes to my side, whispering as she approaches.
Not only do you care to be seen with Stanton, but with the both of you emerging from such a private place.
A hallway? I guess the hallway had a door, but still,
Yes.
It's very funny. It's not like they're like, oh, they came out of a bedroom. It's like, oh my gosh, they were in the hall together.
I'm sure the hallway led to bedrooms or something.
She gives a small sigh before a mischievous smile curves her lips.
And why were you down such a shadowed corridor alone with Lord Stanton, may I ask?
Explain what was overheard. I got lost and he walked me back. It is not my place to say. Sorry.
There was only one bed in the hallway.
Yeah, there was only one bed in the hallway. We had to share the bed in the hallway. It was terrible. Good. No, I like that stuff. Okay. Explain what was overheard. Let's just go for it.
Sure.
I was wandering about the building when I came to the hallway. I overheard Lord Stanton and another man arguing.
What about?
I hesitate for a moment, but know I am now committed to explaining. It seemed to be about Stanton's visiting the gambling house.
Well, I suppose it should not come as a shock, but still to think he would do so in such a place as this.
Stanton did not seem to be pleased with the man.
No, I shouldn't imagine any man being pleased with anyone he's indebted to.
With a sigh, she takes my arm and leads me back over to our seats. After an hour more of conversing with people who are more interested in my personal life than what I'm saying, we finally can return home. This tea was long. The next day, I am pleased to find we have no engagement planned, so I have an opportunity to recover from the last one. What is wrong, Arabella? You have not settled for the last hour. Arabella continues to frown as she paces in front of the window.
I've forgotten to pick up my order from the shop.
Okay, what do you think it is? I'm guessing a hat.
I hope so, because her last one was not great.
No, her last hat was terrible. What do you think it is?
Maybe they're new dresses.
New dresses. Okay, that would also be good. Her frown deepens as she draws to a stop.
But my chores are too many to retrieve it, and I cannot ask Johnson, as I sent him out already, and he will not return for hours at least.
I can go get your hat.
What am I to do?
She throws herself down onto the seat, pinching the bridge of her nose. I slowly close my book and set it down on the table. Arabella is like master of passive-aggressively asking for things. What a terribly veiled way of asking me to pick up your package. Oh, wow, we weren't even calling her out on it. She rolls her head to the side and smiles at me.
It is only because you know me so well, Ray. I am sure to have fooled anyone else.
Then tell me what it is I'm retrieving and where it is I am to go to get it. Arabella pulls herself from her seat and places her arms around my shoulders.
I could not ask for a better friend, even if I should have had sisters.
It is not far to the jewelry shop Arabella made her order with, and I pick up her new brooch with little fuss. Jewelry. Okay, the store to our left sells cheese and ale. I'm assuming we did not go to that to get a brooch.
Darn.
Megan, do you own any brooches?
I feel like I have been gifted a brooch.
Mm-hmm. They definitely
But
don't.
I don't wear jewelry, so
So this is not a new outfit. This is the outfit from the beginning, when she was in her
yeah, that was the
carriage,
traveling.
the traveling outfit.
I don't remember the feathers on the hat, but maybe I just wasn't paying attention.
I think they were there.
Okay.
But the warmth of the sun and the unusual quietness of the town slow my steps to wander. I pass the shops, staring in at the wares, sparkling necklaces, shimmering ribbons, and even a pair of blue satin boots which catch my eye. None are enough to tempt me out of the bright day, though, and I continue on with little thought to my path. Do I end up at the gambling hall? It is not until a thick shade makes me shiver that I come to my senses, finding myself in an unfamiliar and less than pleasant-looking side street. Straightening myself out, I continue forwards as best I can. But as I walk, the people sitting against the aged walls stare at me, some shuffling to their feet with curious and far more inspecting glances than I would care for. I'm in the bad part of town. Thankfully, few interfere with my path, and I can see familiar buildings at the end of the shadowed street.
Well, what a rare thing to see.
I quickly come to a stop as a rough-dressed man steps out in front of me, blocking my exit. Excuse me. I tried to pass by him, but he moves in front of me once again.
Now, no need to be in such a rush.
The unnerving stranger.
Yeah.
His gaze drops to the package in my hand.
I see you're in town on search for wares.
He grins, a mouthful of blackened teeth revealed behind his cracked lips.
It just so happens I have some beautiful items a distinguished woman such as yourself would be interested in.
Such as this knife that I'm pointing at you.
Oh no.
He gestures to the side, where a splintered wooden box is placed, a variety of dulled necklaces and brooches thrown inside of it. I'm not shopping for me today. Out of my way. I'm afraid none would suit me. Say nothing and walk by. I vote for? Like, I feel talking to people like someone like this is not the best way to unengage.
Okay, let's do that.
But I'm kind of hoping that Mr. Rake shows up and saves us.
Save me, Ricky.
Okay. So are you cool with number 4?
Yep.
Okay. With a frown, I make to step past the man without saying a word, only for him to take a sharp step to block my retreat.
Am I not fit enough for you to deign me with a reply?
The man's hand snaps out and grips my arm before attempting to drag me over to his box of wares. Oh my gosh, he touched me.
Just take a closer look.
My attempts to struggle free are useless, and just as I am wondering how much more damage my soft shoes would do if I slammed them down on his foot, a familiar voice rips through the alley.
You there!
Whoa, cutscene.
Nice. Hat.
Regency Batman to the rescue.
Yes.
We both whip our heads around to see Lord Stanton striding towards us. The man's grip on my arm falters as he looks over Stanton's stature and his stern expression, but he continues to keep hold of me.
The young lady and I were just speaking business, which is none of yours, sir.
You know, I'm actually, I'm not a top hat person, but I am kind of annoyed that, hats aren't really in fashion for men anymore.
Mm.
His jacket is pretty rad, though, his coat. That's fancy.
I really like it.
I'm not sure how it would work in real life, but it looks pretty fancy. Stanton gives a stiff smile.
The lady already seems to be encumbered with goods. Let us not force more on her, shall we?
Though he keeps smiling, Stanton's grip on his cane tightens in warning. The stranger casts his narrowed gaze between us before he finally shoves me away.
I suppose there are better customers. Indeed, I'm sure there will be. Shall we proceed on, Miss Disaster?
I see my name, your name precedes you. I take his arm, hoping he won't notice my fingers trembling slightly, and we walk at a fast pace down the alleyway and into the relief of the main street. When my nerves have settled, I turn my face to Stanton, who has a rather casual air considering what just occurred. Thank you for your help. I'm quite capable of handling that myself, but thank you. You have most impeccable timing. I'm unsure what I would have done without your intervention.
You have great timing.
Yeah, I think also the timing one. You have most impeccable timing, Lord Stanton. I am most thankful for it.
It is not always so, I assure you.
He's saying he's bad at gambling.
Although I'm glad it was such today.
Our gazes seem to be locked for a moment, and it's not until I feel heat rising to my cheeks that I manage to glance away. He clears his throat, a strange silence beginning to fall between us as we walk.
Though I know little of fashion these days, I would advise against seeking goods from that street in the future.
It was not my intention to find that street. I was picking up a package for Arabella when I found myself wandering further than intended. Though your advice would suggest you know that street well? His brows pinch together, and he quickly looks away, his arm tensing beneath my hand. But whatever emotion had made him so uneasy soon passes to be masked with a smile.
I was simply walking past the alleyway when I heard that man's rather unsavory voice.
When I
saw you in the shadows, I realized what must be happening, so made my way to you.
Are you often so vigilant about ladies in distress? I give a smile, hoping to lighten the conversation.
It is not just an unusual pastime of mine.
It is not a usual.
Oh, it is not unusual. But the opportunity to walk with you was too tempting to let pass by.
This time I'm unable to hide the blush on my cheeks. Oh, she was blushing. Stanton seems surprised by his own bold words and fixes his gaze ahead of us once again.
You are quite unlike any lady I have ever met in society, Miss Disaster.
He definitely says that to all the girls. Oh, how so?
Your ability to make light of most any situation is quite remarkable. Though I do hope you know some situations require more of a strict approach. Also, the very fact you do not seem the least perturbed by walking with me in public says much. You truly seem less concerned with others' opinions, and instead am forming your own mind.
It is unfair for people to assume someone's character. I would never have anyone tell me what I should believe. I enjoy being able to find people's faults myself. Listening to the opinions of others can be beneficial. Sorry, I said the first one wrong because assume is actually italicized. Right? Is it? No, I don't know what I'm talking about. Two? One or two? Or three, I guess. Not four.
No. One.
One? Okay. It is unfair for people to assume someone's character merely on what they've heard. It would be much better to form an opinion after growing to know someone.
You truly do continue to surprise me, Miss Disaster.
Only in a good way, I hope. Oh, I'm blushing again.
In the best of ways.
Flirt, flirt, flirt. Once again, I find it difficult to look away from his capturing gaze. It's not until the rattling of a carriage beside us makes me blink and we both look away from each other. A few moments later, I continue the conversation, realizing it is not long until we reach my house. You speak of society as though you despise it, so I attend events at all.
It is not society that I dislike. It is just the vile glee they take in bringing down others so quickly, and with so little knowledge of truths. Also, my family enjoys the outings, even with being so tarnished in their own reputation for the fact of merely being related to me.
If you are so concerned with their well-being, then why participate in such things that would cause them harm? It's difficult to phrase the question, but I can see he understands my meaning by the downturned expression on his face.
Some things are not so simple.
You should think about their needs more than your habit. Some things are worth more than a bet. Gambling is fun now, but what will it give you in the end? I have no idea.
2?
2? Okay. Some things should be worth more than a bet. He glances away, his brow creasing deeply.
Your words hold a truth I have carried for many years.
I open my mouth to ask what he means when he suddenly draws to a stop.
This is your residence, is it not?
I wonder for a moment how he would know until I notice Arabella eagerly peeking through the curtains at the window. Yes, it is.
I have very much enjoyed our walks in conversation, Miss Disaster. It has been many years since I have talked so freely with someone outside of my own family.
Would you care to come inside for tea, Lord Stanton? Whoa! It would only be fair to do so, to thank you for your help earlier. For some reason, I feel rather eager to keep his company. I shake away the thought and glance up at him.
That is most kind, but I'm afraid that I... ...
I'm allergic to tea. He shifts uneasily on the spot before giving me a smile.
I'm afraid I have another pressing engagement.
Gambling. It's then that I notice he is turning something over in his hands. It's a business card, one with the 4 card suits drawn on it. Even after our previous conversation, it is the card tables which are on his mind. Of course, I understand. I pull my hand back from his arm and turn to stand before him. Another time, then.
Most definitely.
His smile falters a little, with what I can only guess is shame, before he dips into a deep bow and strides off back in the direction we came. I watch him leave, a small pang of disappointment lodging itself in my chest, before I also turn and head away. The moment I enter the drawing room, Arabella nearly pounces upon me.
I was truly faint with worry you were gone so long.
I'm sorry to have caused you alarm, Arabella. I move away from her and take a seat calmly, letting her curiosity stew for a moment. It's only a few seconds before she can take it no longer and throws herself under the seat next to me.
Oh, do not be so silent, Ray. You must know I saw you and Lord Stanton. Walking. Together. In public.
I found myself in trouble and he helped me. We were enjoying each other's conversation. It was only a walk. Number 1?
Yeah.
Okay. I found myself in a little trouble and he was kind enough to stop and help me.
Are you hurt? Are you ill?
Do not worry. I am quite well. He simply offered to escort me home after, and I couldn't very well refuse.
Something tells me you wouldn't have even if you could have.
I do not dare to think what you could mean. She places a gentle hand on my leg, true concern on her features.
You will be careful, though, won't you, Ray? Enjoying the scandal of others is one thing, but I would not forgive myself if you were to become the topic of it. The prying eye of society can be a terrifying thing.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to remind you of your own experience with it.
That is all past history now. Best laid away with my poor Rupert.
But even with what everyone said about him, you still proceeded with the marriage.
I did. It may have been foolish, and sometimes I regretted it.
So Rupert was like a bear, right?
Still, I won't forget what we had.
Then you, of all people, should be less harsh in your judgments, only because of what others say.
But that was my decision. I do not want to see you marred or live a life of such uncertainty.
You talk as if I'm tied to the man, Arabella. It really was only a walk.
I know, but sometimes a walk can lead to greater things.
She pats
Like
my
that.
leg. She pats my leg and smiles to break the unease of the conversation.
Just tell me you will be careful.
I shall be.
Then I am pleased.
You will be even more so, I imagine, when I give you this. I hand over the package she sent me to get, and her face instantly brightens.
I had quite forgotten.
She tears open the brown paper, a delicate glimmering brooch falling out from the shreds.
Is it not the most dazzling thing you've ever laid eyes on? Do we get to see it?
I hope we get to see it. Steph saying, I feel like I want to start using that on friends now, but sometimes a walk can lead to greater things. I give a small laugh, happy to see all of her previous concerns drained away. Oh, I want to see the brooch. The next day I have time to myself, though Arabella does not leave me be until I agree upon attending another get-together that evening. And it's not long before the conversation once again turns to the popular topic of marriage. Okay. I want to look up how much more of this game there is. Because I don't want to lock you into playing forever, and I'm getting kind of tired of talking.
Okay.
So give me a moment as I look up a walkthrough that the creators put online. So who are we going with?
Stanton?
Oh, I have no idea. I don't think any of these options are ones we've reached yet. Yeah, definitely looks like we haven't reached these options. Okay. How much more do you want to do, Megan?
Let's go through this next event.
I feel that could take a while.
Okay. Well, let's just pause here then because we haven't done anything yet. And if you decide to do another session of this.
I think let's say in a couple weeks, not next week, because next week I will be playing a different visual novel, of Regency romance visual novel. I found 2. There's only 2 that I found. But that means that later this month I can come back to this one. So maybe in a couple weeks I'll come back to play more of The Lady's Choice, and we'll finally get to hold hands with this rake.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I don't know. We've held his arm a bunch, right?
I guess we held hands while dancing, but I don't think that counts. That does not count as holding hands. But yeah, this is, this is more fun than reading a book for me at the very least.
It's true. And you kind of get to choose too, which is nice.
I do like that you get to choose. And I think the thing that makes this most fun is being able to talk to people while doing it. Honestly, the thing that I miss most about, we used to have, this one, we used to do reading parties for the book club, when we all lived in the same city, and we would just all get together and read books. We would have stacks of books from the genre we were reading that we'd taken out from the library, and just drink tea and eat scones and stuff, and read parts of books to each other. The one I really remember, the cozy mystery one, where we were just so amused by all the terrible titles of them, all the puns and stuff. But anyway, thanks for checking out the stream. Sorry?
That was nice because every time we hit a wall in whatever cozy mystery and we're like, I can't read this anymore, you could just pick up another one.
Definitely. I think that would be so much fun for the Regency romances. I think it would be really fun to do that and have a bunch of people and just read out the really ridiculous lines in them. I think that would make it so much more enjoyable for me. And I think it's a fun thing for other people to do. I think when you're able to do things in person again, having reading parties is a really fun, weird way to socialize with people.
In the future.
Yeah, in the future. But thanks for checking out the stream. I'll be back next Friday with a different game, or you can check it out on YouTube. We have other things, other games we've streamed. No Regency romances, a lot of spooky romances, a lot of Halloween themed romances, dating simulators. But if you want to check out the podcast, it's bookclub4m.com, Book Club for Masochists, a Reader's Advisory podcast. You just search for Book Club for Masochists on any podcasting service. Our episode about Regency romances will be out at the beginning of February, the first Tuesday in February. I don't remember the exact date that is. But thanks for joining us. And I don't have a sign off because my sign off was stay safe and stay spooky. But now it's not really relevant. I guess I can just go back to this one for a moment. Where is it? Yes, stay safe and stay spooky. Regency romance spooky. Bye all. Good night. Have a great weekend.